I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome here, everyone. And at this time, I'd like to give the opening to Councillor Bill Hiebert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I recently had breakfast at Santa Lucia restaurant. Sitting by the window facing the 9th hole of the Steinbach golf course, I was amazed how beautifully manicured our golf course is, a jewel in Steinbach's green space, which inspired me to look into the history of golf in Steinbach. So I arranged a coffee meeting with Rob Fast, who is the superintendent of the Steinbach Fly and Golf Course. Rob has been employed with the Steinbach Fly and Golf Course for 46 years, serving as superintendent since 1979. Rob tells me that golf in Steinbach started back in 1953, when a 9-hole golf course with sand greens was built at the old fairgrounds, west of Loewen Windows, and now part of our industrial park. This course had an airplane runway running right through the middle of the flat course, so when an airplane approached, the golfers would have to scramble to get out of the way. In the 1960 season, 4,000 rounds of golf were played at this course, and each year increased after that. It was 1967 when a group of local businessmen, led by A.D. Penner, formed Golf Air Limited. 10 men who were both flying enthusiasts and who were passionate about their game of golf. They purchased 122 acres of land next to the Mennonite Village Museum for the price of $40,000. A.D. Penner Construction Company started to build a new airport runway in November of 1967, a 2,680-foot airstrip, and a 1,300 cross strip. And then in 1968, construction started on our current back 9, which would have been the front 9 then. And at this time, they hired a design team. From what I understand, the work on this part was done by A.D. Penner Construction as well. In the spring of 1970, play began on the new course. But it was July 3rd of 1971 when Premier Ed Schreier did the official ribbon cutting, assisted by President of Steinbach Golf Club, A.D. Penner. At the time, it was considered one of Manitoba's finest golf courses. In 1978, Larry Robinson was hired as its club's first golf professional. And in 1980, the golf course obtained the land next to our current aquatic center to expand to the full 18-hole course that we have today. Construction began in 1981. The new 9 holes, which would be called the front 9, started playing in the spring of 1983. This job was managed by Harry Fair of Steinbach, who was a real golf enthusiast, who later went on to build the Quarry Oaks Golf Course near Giroux. During the years of 1982 and 85, Les Dunville was superintendent, with Rob returning to the position in 1985. In 84, the Steinbach Fly-In built a new clubhouse on Park Road East by the new 9. And in 88, a new automated irrigation system was installed. We move up to 2000. In 2000, they built the modern timber frame clubhouse that we have today, which serves us very well to this day and also houses a Santa Lucia pizza restaurant, which has been a great addition to our city's food options. 2004, Larry Robinson having moved on, they hired Brian Gunther as the new golf professional, and he is still serving in this position today. In 2008, a new artesian well was drilled in the front 9, and 2 years later, they added another artesian well in the back 9. Many more upgrades, drain improvements have been done over the years. Rob tells me that this is a constant event. Most recently, they installed a brand new high-tech irrigation system, taking out a lot of the maintenance issues of the very old system that was back from the 80s. Steinbach Fly and Golf Course on a good year sees 25,000 rounds of golf played, and these golfers are from all over the province and elsewhere. Back in the 80s and 90s, we had as much as 35,000 rounds per year. And the reason that has changed because there's so much more competition out there today. Personally, I know that the golfers who would drop off their cars at the dealership that I worked at for service while golfing, and in most cases, would have purchased their cars at one of the Steinbach auto dealers as well. Many would also shop here and eat in our restaurants. The game of golf is one of the many drawing cards for people to visit Steinbach and possibly even move to our beautiful city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hiebert. Council, we have the agenda in front of us, looking for a motion to adopt. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Penner. Any comments? No. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Council, we have the minutes of August 15th, 2023. The regular council meeting starts on page 1. We have them in front of us. We've all had a chance to review, looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Hiebert, second by Councillor Swagstra. Any comments?
No comments.
Okay. For the question, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes? Okay, seeing none. It is 7:35, so we'll move into the public hearing. This is 6A. This is referring to Subdivision 4451, 2022, 8798. This is referring to 385 Loewen Boulevard. At this time, I will close the council meeting, open the public hearing. Mr. Worthing, could you please introduce this file?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Subdivision application file 4451-2022-8798 is being applied for by Jack Kaler, care of Bethesda Wellness, Inc. The owner of the subject property is Steinbach Campus Foundation, Inc. Purpose of the application is to allow for the creation of 3 new parcels, 2 public reserve parcels, as well as the extension of Heritage Parkway of land with a current civic address of 385 Loewen Boulevard. The intent of the subdivision is to allow for the development of future healthcare facilities. Notices as required under the Planning Act have been issued. There is no written correspondence on file other than the comments from community planning. With respect to the subdivision application, the subject lands are designated as institutional policy area under the city's official community plan and are zoned as EI, educational and institutional, according to Steinbach zoning bylaw 2100. This land was recently rezoned pursuant to bylaw 2234, for which third reading was given by council on August 15th, 2023. Both that rezoning file and this subdivision application would support the applicant's intent to develop healthcare-related facilities on the subject parcels. This public hearing is for the subdivision process is for the proposed extension of Heritage Parkway, and pursuant to the application, the Community Planning Office also indicated that it would not object to the approval of the application. Recommendation from administration is for council to approve the subdivision subject to a development agreement and subject to a minor variance being approved for the site area of the residual lot.
Thank you, Mr. Worthing. I see the applicant is here today. Do you wish to speak?
No, unless there's any questions.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here with questions, comments, or objections to this file? Is there anyone here with comments, questions, or objections to this file? I will ask one more time. Is there anyone here with comments, questions, or objections to this file? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing, open the council meeting. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Swagstra.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second by Councillor Hiebert. Go ahead, Councillor Swagstra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is building off the decision we'd made just a few weeks ago when we gave third reading to the rezoning to educational institutional. It makes sense for this subdivision to this to be approved here for the creation of 3 parcels, 2 public reserves, and the extension of Heritage Parkway. We certainly look forward to additional healthcare facilities being developed within the city, and it's certainly looking forward to seeing this going ahead.
Anything further?
No further comment. Thank you.
Anything further of council? Anything in closing? No. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We have no delegations tonight. We'll move to 8, reports and recommendations from the city manager. The in memoriam donations, the city policy, that's on page 48. Mr. Worthing, could you please introduce this file?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City of Steinbach Council in late 2009, adopted the policy that you see on page 48 of your agenda package. At this time, the Council of the Day deemed it appropriate to recognize the passing of either employees or immediate family members of employees with a in memoriam donation to the Steinbach Community Foundation. The amount of the donation was set at $100 at that time, and according to 2009 standards, was seen to be appropriate. I am bringing this forward for Council's consideration due to the fact that change in that donation amount has not changed since the original adoption of the policy. Recommendation from administration is for Council to consider updating the policy and designating the donation amount to be $150 for each in memoriam donation.
Thank you, Mr. Ortine. Okay, Council, so it's been brought back to us to update and increase to 150 on recommendation of administration. How would you like to proceed, Council? Councillor Penner?
Do you mind if I ask a question to administration?
Go ahead.
Just out of curiosity, often when somebody passes away, in their obituary, it mentions, where donations can be made in lieu of flowers. Is there a reason we don't rather give to the organization that the family is requesting a donation to go to? Does it just make it too complicated? Or because I just would say in grief, those personal touches mean a lot more than just kind of maybe a rote gift. So I'm just, or am I overcomplicating it?
I'm not sure exactly how you want me to answer that. I wouldn't disagree that if there is wishes of the family that in the honor of the person who has passed on, that would appear to be appropriate. My recollection of the history that's related to this particular policy was the city of Steinbach and originally Steinbach's mayor at the time in 1998, Mayor Wes Reimer, who was part of the original founding board of the Steinbach Community Foundation, was also seeking ways to support that organization as the city of Steinbach, and Mayor Reimer at that time had been instrumental in bringing it about to exist. In the event, or as an alternative to a flower arrangement or other types of donations, Council of the Day in 2009, when this policy was created, thought it appropriate. Not only would the city be able to recognize the passing of the employee or an immediate family member, but it would also be supporting an organization that the city of Steinbach was also in support of.
Well, I'm going to then make a motion for the $150, but my motion would also include that we first give the donation to where the family has requested in lieu of flowers, and in the event that they don't have that or that doesn't work out, the default, or the second would be the Steinbach Community Foundation.
Okay. Seconder for,
Oh, question to administration on that.
yeah.
Do we need to amend policy before we make a motion like that?
I would request that, or at least request an opportunity to revise the wording so that it would capture the essence. I'm not sure how that process would work, because asking a family if it's okay to do something, like I'm just not sure how that would work. But if that's the intention of council, I could draft wording accordingly.
I guess we'll see if there's a seconder.
Okay, or do we want to, okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no problem seconding it, but I suspect the wording would be something along the line of donations would be made to a charity of the family's choice, or something very similar to that. But I have no problem with saying to administration that give them an opportunity to rework that if that's not precise enough.
If that is the will of council, and that is the policy council wants to adopt, that
Are there any problems that you would identify with that before we?
At this time, about the only potential issue that I can identify is we often don't find out about the passing of an employee's family member from time to time until some time later. Information may be a little more difficult to collect as to a particular charity that's being requested. Other than that, I can't think of anything at the moment.
Can I just make a comment? I'm not suggesting we necessarily approach a family and say, where would you like to give us a donation? I'm just saying it's really common for it to be quite obvious, right, when somebody passes away. But as somebody who supports the Bethesda Foundation, the family would usually say, in lieu of flowers, support the Bethesda Foundation. I'm not trying to overcomplicate it. If it's not obvious, Steinbach Foundation's fine, but I just think it's a nice gesture if we personalize it a little more. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Question of administration. Do you feel it would be best to take this back, reword it, and then vote on it as a resolution later, once the wording is changed, or vote on it now and then you change the wording?
I'm satisfied with the wording suggested by both councillors Penner and Zwagstra. If it's a matter of the donation in memory of the individual being made to the charity as requested in the obituary, and in the absence of that notice, that the donation be made to the Steinbach Community Foundation.
Yeah, that's
I think that captures the intention of my understanding of the resolution.
Yeah, I'm completely okay with that wordage too. Okay. So then you're okay with seconding it?
Second that, yep.
Okay. Go ahead. Speak to it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I've basically made all my comments, but just to reiterate, you know, it's nice to do a personal gift when, you know, somebody has suffered a loss. But as grief and losing somebody is one of the most difficult situations somebody goes through. So if we can be a little more personal and sensitive to what the wishes of the family are, I would say we could do that. We are making a donation anyways, so it doesn't complicate things that much for the city to just change who the recipient of that gift is, and I think it's a nice gesture because it supports the will of the family as well.
Anything further?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with the change, both in terms of adjusting the dollar amount and then acknowledging that in some cases it's very clear that there's a particular charity that's closely associated with the individual that's passed away, and then it's absolutely appropriate to send to that charity. And if not, or if they're neutral on it, then the Steinbach Community Foundation. And I trust our administration to be able to reword this to reflect that. But I think the sentiment is quite clear.
Thank you. Anything further of council? Anything in closing?
Nothing further.
Okay. Yeah, council, I too agree. I think both changes are fine, increasing to 150, plus also when this policy was set in 1998, then I totally understand the reason to go with the Steinbach Community Foundation at that time to build the foundation. But in a case like this, I do agree too that I think it's best to first give the family the option of the choice of the organization that they would like to see honored in this way, and then if there's none, it goes to the Steinbach Community Foundation. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, council, we got 9A, accounts payable. It's back of the book. We've all had a chance to review. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Hiebert. Any comments?
No comments.
Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We've got 9B, the financial statements ending July 31st, 2023. Also in the back, looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Hiebert, second by Councillor Siemens. Any comments?
No comments.
Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We've got 9C. This is bylaw 2229, public reserve opening. This is referring to 609 Main Street. We will be doing first and second reading today. This starts on page 49 of our package. Mr. Workney, could you please introduce this file?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bylaw 2229 is a proposed bylaw to create a public reserve within the city of Steinbach. The parcel of land that you see in your agenda package and as shown on the screen is near to the corner of Main Street and Goosen Avenue in Steinbach. The city of Steinbach has already retained title to the majority of the parcel as noted for some time. Recent changes in the area, the city was provided an opportunity to acquire a further parcel of land, which is a smaller square parcel attached to the existing land that it owns next to it, with the further intent that administration is also recommending that the entire parcel be created as a plan of public reserve. Recommendation from administration is for council to give bylaw 2229 first and second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Workney. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Siemens?
Motion to approve.
Seconder? Councillor Swiecka? Go ahead, Councillor Siemens.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is to build a public reserve for a variety of different reasons. It's an opportunity now. Really, this is a part of the city's long-term strategy. Not only is the water lines actually running in that area from our Barkman Park, where we have some of the city's water wells to the tower. It runs through that area, but also potentially a future pedestrian corridor on the old original creek bed. So this gives us, because of the changes that are being made to the lands that are adjoining, the city has an opportunity here to build a public reserve. And I think this is an important piece to our city properties.
Anything further?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is I think this makes sense. As it states here, that it's a good opportunity to take that portion of the property. It allows city staff access to the water line and continues with plans of accumulating land for a future pathway. And so it makes sense when there's an opportunity like this to take advantage of that opportunity.
Thank you. Anything further of council? Anything closing?
No, sir.
Call for the question. All those in favor of first reading? Opposed? That is carried. We'll go directly into second reading. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Hiebert, second by Councillor Penner. Go ahead, Councillor Hiebert.
Nothing further, it's all been said.
Okay. Anything further?
Nothing.
Call for the question. All those in favor, second reading? Thank you. That opposed? That's carried. Okay. We'll be moving down to council question period. Are there any questions of council? Okay, seeing none. We've got correspondence petitions, 11A. We've got this from the Seine Rat River Roseau Watershed District. These are minutes from June 20, 2023, June 27, 2023, July 18, 2023, and August 1st, 2023. Council, would you like to proceed? Take it as information. Okay, thank you. In council, we've got 12 other business. This is Hampton Village Park naming. Council, it's customary for when an outgoing mayor has retired or left the seat, it's customary for the next council to name a park after him. We've done it for every mayor up till now, and we haven't had that much luck finding one for the former mayor Chris Gertson. But there is a new park now that the play area got built this summer, and I think we're very close to renaming it, and that is the Hampton Village Park. It is situated behind Lyndhurst Drive, and that is a very special park actually for Chris, because he was key and instrumental in talking with the developer in getting that area kept as a green space. And the intent was always just a passive green space, but now the neighbors have gotten together, worked with the city and had a play structure put there. And one neighbor's put a shelter, a picnic shelter up, and we just thought this would be a perfect park to name after the former mayor, Chris Gertson. What we're looking for today is to have this authorized by a motion of council. So I'm just looking for a motion to approve this park naming. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Swagstra. Go ahead, Councillor Penner.
Yeah, I'm very pleased that there's this nice park that we can name after our former mayor, Chris Gertson. He served on council for quite a while, so this is only appropriate that we get this done. Like you've said, there's been a bit of a time lag, which is unfortunate, but it will be worth it because it's a really, really great park. So I'm happy to support this and make the motion.
Thank you. Anything further, Councillor Swagstra?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Naming parks after former mayors is a kind of a unique tradition in Steinbach that basically with every former mayor, we name a park after that mayor. I think it's a good tradition. It shows that we honor our past leaders. Chris Gertson served as mayor for 12 years and on council for 4 years before that, so a total of 16 years of service on council. I happened to be on council along with Councillor Siemens for the entire 12 years, and then several of us several others here were also there with him for 8 years. And so had the opportunity to work directly with him, and he provided good leadership to the city during that time. There's a lot of growth that happened in the city during his 12 years as mayor, and of course this is one of those areas where growth happened. And as you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, he played a key role in negotiating to ensure that that area would be green space. So it's appropriate that that park be named the Chris Gertson Park. So very happy to second this motion.
Thank you. Anything further for council? Anything in closing?
Nothing further.
Yes, council, I just do want to summarize. I'm very happy that we can name this park after former Mayor Chris Gertson. I do too. I think it's a great park to show his service to our community and his leadership that he provided during all those years. And 16 years, yeah, it's a long time to be on council. And I got to be on him for, I guess, 12 years with him, right? 8 years with him. And yeah, and it was a good time. And that is where our city started to really grow, as it is growing now, and become one of the fastest growing, well, as the Premier said last week, the fastest growing region in our province. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Looking for a motion to adjourn? Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Hiebert. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Next regular council meeting is Tuesday, September 19th, 2020.